MotorWeek is made possible by Tire Rack.
Pat Goss has been having fun with cars since he was young, but this latest project has been one that he's really enjoyed. Here he is with part 4 of his 5-part series on building the Maxton Rollerskate. Pat?
Over the weekend, John, when the cameras weren't rolling, all sorts of things happened here on our Maxton. The crew got in here and installed all sorts of detail items, from the windshield washers to the windshield wipers and the cowl, lots of the wire harness, the windshield, and the dash. And I have to tell you that of all of the things that we've done so far on the Maxton, the dash was the most time-consuming. Since all the mechanical bits are installed, we figured this is as good a time as any to make sure the car gets filled with its fluids. Later on, we're going to pull the dash back out and paint it, and we're going to install the rest of the interior. But before any of that happens, the Maxton has to go for a short trip.
Okay.
Everybody ready?
Okay. All right, little British Racing Green coming up.
Now that we have our Maxton in the paint shop, we're going to go around the body of the car and we're going to find all of the imperfections in the fiberglass. See, that's a normal thing when a glass-bodied car comes out of the mold. There are going to be pinholes and spots that have to be dealt with. We're also going to do things like what we have back here. These little plates were designed so that the roll bar could be easily installed. Well, now that it's installed, we're going to glass these into place and make this a very smooth contour. We do this around the entire car, and then we make it ready for paint. Because our Maxton Rollerskate's body is made of fiberglass, we have to use some special precautions in painting it. Now, as we prep it for paint, we have to be careful that we don't sand through this finish that's already on the car. This is a gel coat, and the gel coat is put on there to protect the fiberglass and to keep the paint that we put on it from soaking into the fiberglass. We have to be careful that we don't sand through that. Next, in the areas that we have to do touch-up bodywork, once the bodywork is done, we have to use an epoxy-type primer. This is a 2-part primer that does much the same thing as the gel coat does, because we don't want our bodywork to show when we put our finish coats on it. Then, the paint system that we've selected for this particular car. What we're doing here is we're using a 2-part, 2-stage finish. Now, the 2-part simply means that everything that we use on it will be catalyzed. There'll be 2 different components that go together that form a chemical reaction that make this paint extremely hard and durable. As far as the 2-stage is concerned, we're going to use a base coat for the color, and then we're going to put an acrylic urethane clear coat over the top of it. Now, what this is going to do is to make it extremely shiny and make it extremely durable. We have to remind you that the chemicals we're using here are made for professionals only. Vapors are harmful and the products won't perform properly anyway if you don't have the skills to use them. Before we wrap things up, let's talk a little bit about time and money. When we started out, we figured it would take about 50 hours to build the car, and it has. But that doesn't include the time that it takes to paint the car. And the amount of time that will take depends on the amount of effort you're willing to put in it, or the amount of money you're willing to spend to have someone else do it. A job like this one might cost you $2,000. If you're not as particular as we are, it might cost you about $1,000 to paint the car. That's all for now. We'll be back next time to show you how our paint job turned out. In the meantime, if you have a question or a comment, how about writing to me? The address is MotorWeek, Owings Mills, Maryland, 21117. That's MotorWeek, Owings Mills, Maryland, 21117.